Get ready for a unique listening experience. Talking about in-depth music topics with
the
guests,
70s, the 80s, 90s,
excitement, and more. Starting here with Nathan Sweats.
You ready for a good time on the Music Broadcast Podcast? And we're riding solo today for a nice rockin' conversation. Music streaming, what's going on in that world anyways, right? So, according to an article by Comparitech, this is in 2019, 89% of people across the globe listen to on-demand streaming music. Well, who in the world would care about a stat like that? Okay, yeah, everybody's got cell phones now, but did you know that streaming has only been around for like 21 years? And even less than that, it hasn't even been in the mainstream for that long. I think the crazy thing, at least in my noggin, thinking about it, is we all have millions of songs and tunes we could just kind of pull up at any time. Because again, if so many people are listening to music, you probably have a smartphone by now. If you don't have a smartphone by now, I'm not sure what world you're living in. And hey, I can't blame you. I've thought of getting my own, flip phone a time or two and getting off of everything. But inevitably, I would hop back onto the smartphone life. That's kind of just the norm now. So most people have cell phones. Most people have smartphones. What do you do with that? You get a streaming music service. Most people do. Millions and millions of songs are just at your fingertips. You can play whatever it is you can. And the pretty cool thing that everyone takes advantage of is you can swap something out if you don't want to listen to it. You can just go and type in. Guess what? You can talk to your cell phone and say, "Hey, Siri, can you swap it up for me? I don't want to listen to that anymore." You know that none of our parents, nobody back then from the 70s and 80s and any time before that, even in the 90s, none of them could just do that. You know what they had to do? It was an art form with that soundtrack vinyl system. You take that, baby, put a disc on it, and then you just listen to it like it's a true art form. However, then you only get about half of an album, or maybe sometimes a full album on one side. Then you gotta flip it over. And then if you want to listen to a different artist or a different album, guess what? You take it off, don't scratch it up, and then you play a different one. It was all about the experience. Then it moved on to the thing like the Walkman, for example, where you had your tape that you toss in. Hey, you'd even take a tape, stick that sucker in the radio, and you could record the song that was playing on the radio if you wanted to keep it. That was the Walkman. They'd walk around with it and listen to the music just like that. Then it went to things like the CD player when in the early 2000s, and then moving on to the MP3 players and all of these things. They started to come around and around with little more memory as things went on. But what was so revolutionizing was this music streaming. You can have hundreds of gigabytes of music going on one little device. It is so revolutionary, and there's these things called playlisting on music streaming. It's all within your little cell phone. Guess what? Not even that. It's not even in that 6 inches by 3 inches little deal you're holding right now. You know what it is? It's one little app that you've got. Not even that little app. It's within one little folder within that app. It's nothing compared to what's out there on these cell phones. And now all the power is in your hands. You can listen to whatever in the world you like. And it's pretty crazy. So why is that important that we can do that? I think another factor that kind of plays a role is the musical influence that plays in our individual lives. I can tell you personally, I used to listen to music back in the day that I just did not relate to at all. Through high school and the grade school, my first song I ever had downloaded was on a PlayStation Portable. It was the song Lollipop by Lil Wayne. Do you think my 11-year-old self could relate to that one at all? Well, I hope I didn't take Lil Wayne's lyrics too literally there with the lollipop, but I can tell you that it did play some sort of influence, I started listening to different hip hop and things like that all throughout the years, but it just holds power. A great example of this power thing that in musical influence that it holds is look back in the 60s, for example, the late 60s around the Vietnam War. What was going on there? You had guys like John Lennon and CCR and all those kind of guys, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. They were making songs they were called protest songs, and these songs held power and they held a message as a direct result of music being a form of mass communication and media communication. Man, they could share that power, and it had influence on people. It shifted the little subculture they had going on there. So it holds power. That's pretty cool. Now give the power and the influence to every individual around the globe and give them every single song that's ever been made right at your fingertips. I think the ideal result of this would be tuning, grooving, and getting the shoulders moving, and by no means is it slowing down. According to Comparitech, in August of 2021, the COVID pandemic has prompted actually an increase of music streaming of around 22.6 increase in time spent streaming music worldwide. That's following an 11% slump from mid-March, right before it, and then bada bing, 22% increase is absolutely massive. So it's not slowing down whatsoever. And we've only spoke on the consumer point of view and only a couple factors of it. We haven't even touched on the artist's point of view or the labels and how it is for the music industry in a whole when you get down to royalties and getting paid and how music has been revolutionized by streaming and the output of music in publishing and PR and everything that comes about it with the internet. So, if you want to hear another video or podcast about it, stay tuned to the Music Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to this unique listening experience with Nathan Sweats. We'll see you next time.